In today's video, I want to paint the neck and the upper body of this little girl. I want to bring your attention on this area, the sleeves. This is where we are having the lightest value of this painting, the white. The darkest dark are on the head, here, in the hair, the eyes, and also the cast shadow under her book and in the lower dress. For the grisaille, I used this palette: titanium white, raw umber, and ivory black. Here I don't have ivory black because I'm working in the blouse, and I will explain later why. Someone asked me what was the difference between ivory black and Mars black. Ivory black is a warm black, suited for portrait painting, where you want your grisaille and your darks to be in a warm color temperature. Mars black is a cool black. I would use this black in a landscape painting, where we want our shadows to be cool. Here I am reworking on her lower face. I found that the values were a little too dark compared to the values of the neck. The neck is usually slightly darker than the face and its value. Since it's Bouguereau, use soft blending to show the roundness and avoid abrupt value shifts. Keep your shadows subtle but consistent to suggest form. Since we are painting a child, avoid strong contrast or excessive detailing. The softness of the modeling should convey youth and delicacy. For me, each painting is a problem to solve. Today's challenge will be the blouse. This area holds the lightest values in the entire composition, and it's also where the value steps are the most compressed. This is why I did not have to use ivory black on my palette. While painting the neck, I keep in mind that the overall form is a cylinder. In this painting, the light falls from above and to our left side. So the left plane of the neck is in the light, while the underjaw and the right side of the neck drop into shadow. Here, I allow the neck shadows to melt into the blouse. However, the forms are suggested with gentle gradations. I have to be careful not to have sharp edges. For me, each painting is a problem to solve. Today's challenge is the blouse. This area holds the lightest values in the entire composition, and it's also where the value steps are the most compressed. To create the illusion of form, I use impastos on the highlights of her blouse. Impasto is a technique where paint is applied thickly so that it stands out from the surface, catching the light and enhancing texture. At first, I was going way too dark on these folds. The color details also needed to be a lot more subtle. Less contrast, fewer value gaps. By softening those transitions and keeping the darks lighter, the blouse maintains its luminosity and volume without losing the beautiful delicacy. Here, I am refining the smaller details on the color using thicker white paint called impastos. During the grisaille, I dilute my oil paint with pure mineral spirit until the paint becomes like a mayonnaise or ketchup. Impastos are not diluted. It is done with the paint straight out of the tube. They are thick applications of paint applied on the canvas surface. They catch light and sometimes you can create texture with impastos. Most oil colors already have enough body to be used in impasto. This gives you a natural thickness and opacity without modification. However, if you want the paint to hold its peaks and strokes more firmly, you can add to your paint a mix of calcium carbonate or chalk. This traditional extender increases body, absorbs excess oil, and creates a stiffer, more matte impasto. The right part of her blouse is in the shadow. I am adding smaller details on that blouse. The first layer was my foundation. A painting should be executed from the big form to the smaller details last. Please do not try and paint everything. Leave the smaller details for the end. Painting is like constructing a house. You gotta make sure that your foundation are solid. Otherwise, everything is gonna fall apart. Your house needs to have walls and a roof. It would not make sense to add decoration, furniture, wallpaper, nice curtains to a barely half-constructed house. It's the same for a realistic painting. You gotta have your proportion right, your big form right. You have to have your foundation right before adding the small details. Here you can see my thick impasto application and the cool effect it does. And like always, taking care of your edges. Here I'm smoothing the edges and adding a little bit of working on the, oh, that's too dark. Working on the shadows and taking care of my edges. Standing back and looking at your painting from a distance is one of the most important habits in classical painting practice. Up close, you get absorbed in tiny details and sometimes changing your own tale. From a distance, you will see whether all those parts work together or not. I am working on the darkest dark of her right sleeve, taking care of these edges, smoothing them. Standing, I adjust my camera to make sure that we see everything that I do. Just like when I was painting the neck, I have to keep in mind that the overall form of this sleeve is a cylinder. Here I am adjusting the edges and the value of the cast shadow on her forearm, and I add details on the edge of her sleeve. Now that the blouse has been worked into, it will be a great time for me to fill out all the background, to get rid of the white of the canvas, to make sure that my values are correct in the blouse. Next time, on the next video, all this background will be filled with this cool gray about this value. Until then, happy painting!